Hello, welcome to Hope for Flint. I'm your host, Kristen Wolosinovich, here with my beautiful co-host, Lisa Metropolis.
Thank you, Kristen. I love how you say my name. And I am so excited for who we have here today.
Well, we always say, Lisa, you know, we love women. We love to lift leverage.
We do.
We love them, but we really love handsome men in the hot seat.
And men who lift women and help them rise also.
And listen, without further ado, that was a great intro, right? We have Director of Government Affairs and Community Relations at both for Flint and Genesee County Chamber of Commerce. Finally. Adrian Walker. Hello, sir.
Hey, Kristen and Lisa.
Hi,
Thank you
Adrian.
again for this opportunity.
Well, we're honored and privileged to have you here today, but it took a little bit. Our people had to call his people. We had to get approval.
He has people.
He's got a big deal. So he does have people. Let's just say it was me calling his people. But we're so excited to have you here.
Happy to be here.
And your role, how long have you been with the chamber?
So I've been in my role at the chamber since August of 2018. So a little bit over 6 months.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Relatively new.
Yeah.
Prior to your role here, where has your journey led you?
So I think it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
So prior to me joining the chamber, I actually, again, born and raised here in the city of Flint.
Flint kid?
Yeah.
Just a kid from Flint?
Just a kid from Flint, and Carmen Ainsworth alum as well,
Okay,
right?
CA, baby.
CA
Got
all
you.
day. After that, headed down to Michigan State to do my schooling in political science.
Go white.
And amazing opportunity there, having had worked in government at that level, at both the state and the executive level. The next step up for me was going out to Washington, D.C., which was an amazing experience.
How long were you in D.C.?
So I was in D.C. for 5 years.
Wow.
Working on Capitol Hill for a United States Senator.
Kristen and I both just kind of stopped in our tracks because 5 years in D.C.
It's a lifetime.
is a lifetime.
Yeah.
Especially at that age. And you went right to Capitol Hill.
Yeah, and like I said, it was a really unique experience. But DC was about growing me, yes, professionally, but then also personally as well.
100%. DC's no joke.
No, it isn't. It's,
It is no joke. So if you were right, Mr. Walker. You're going to grow up. Yep. You go to
Real quick,
Washington,
yeah.
D.C. So you're there 5 years. Then you come back home, baby.
Yeah, so for me, it's interesting. And again, I returned back home in February of 2015, but I got to share with both of you the reason why I came back home.
Please,
so while
please.
DC, again, is an amazing town, for me, it really tore at my heart when I would get into work and I would read M Live or the Free Press or
right,
the Detroit
right.
News and read the stats about what's going on back in my hometown of Flint, Michigan.
Could you not believe it? I mean, it probably had to be mind-blowing to you because when we were here and we were seeing it, it was very surreal. So I'm sure being away, I mean, and then having probably to deal with it within DC, they probably
Sure,
were like,
yeah.
what is going
What's
on?
going on?
Yeah, and but I think even beyond that, being from here, I think it really put things into perspective, right? So while DC was an amazing experience about myself, I had to take myself away from the equation and realize, again, as we're talking about the people in Flint,
Right.
they poured in me to get me to that level, right? But coming back home for me was about a return on those individuals' investments.
Well, you're coming back to a community that gave you so much.
Exactly. So that's why my coworkers didn't understand it when I said, hey, I want to go back home to Flint. But for me,
like,
it
yeah.
was a no-brainer.
It wasn't.
It was a no-brainer. So I came back in 2015.
Right. Wow.
And I came back to Diplomat Pharmacy. I had an amazing experience via Phil Hagerman and Phil Schultz. Phil actually reached out to me, Phil Schultz, out of the blue and said, hey, what would it take for you to come back home?
Wow.
And for me, it was just at that time that I was looking to come
That
back.
It was
You knew.
that was the universe. The stars and moon aligned at that time. So you come back and you
Yeah.
work for Diplomat. You work for Phil, who is an amazing man. That company was, starting from what? I believe one pharmacy and then building into a massive conglomerate.
Yeah,
So
and into something that has been around for 40 plus years. So for me, I definitely, owe everything to Phil Hagerman for giving me an opportunity to come back home, but then also give back to my community, right? So my role at Diplomat was what we call corporate social responsibility.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It was essentially a role that was being charged first in terms of driving our organization and our involvement in the community from a corporate philanthropic standpoint.
It was a need. You saw a need. So I want to say, and I know Phil appreciates the appreciation you have for him and the opportunity he gave you, but I want to point out that, and in the first place, you grabbed me, you had me when you said, my coworkers in DC didn't understand why I wanted to go home. You already saw coming home as an opportunity. You already saw it that way. So that was already planted in your head. When Phil called you, it was just...
It was predestined.
It was okay. Okay.
Lisa's getting spiritual, but I'm
going to
reading,
church.
I'm reading the Lisa Metropolis love language here. But you're absolutely right. It's almost kind of, it was predestined.
Sure.
You know, it's very fortuitous for you to come back in your city. But what I think is pretty special too is, you know, having met you recently, but seeing you out in the community. First of all, starting with Diplomat, having that role, what an honor and privilege.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you knew you were going to give back, and now you have like this massive resource behind you, and you got to give back.
Yeah, no, really got a chance to give back and make sure that not only me, but again, our employees who were from, 83% was from Flint and Genesee County had an opportunity to get involved in those efforts. It's bigger than, like I always say, one person, right?
Right.
And that impact was huge because, again, I always say the easiest thing to do is checkbook philanthropy, to write a check.
Oh, yeah.
The harder thing is, again, getting out there, volunteering, and getting involved.
Showing
and that's
up.
what we did.
Yeah, showing up.
Yeah.
That's what I said.
You were in the trenches.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we talk about that all the time because we
do.
go in the trenches. Like during the water crisis,
Yeah.
I have friends. We were taking them dinners and we were providing them with Christmases. And I literally lost one. And they attested probably to the water crisis because she instantly had a mass and it was so aggressive. And then they lost her within probably 7 months, leaving 3 children behind.
Yeah.
They didn't have water for 6 months. They didn't pay their bill because the water was brown.
Sure.
And then they were getting, obviously, bottled water. And the kids were showering with bottled water.
Yeah.
I mean, even because the trust wasn't there. So, I mean, we're seeing the uptick. We're seeing, big changes. We are making changes. We are the hub of, it. While it was devastating, it obviously opened up dialogue globally about our water. But we're seeing an uptick with the city. We're seeing resilience, which
in businesses.
Flint, right?
Huge.
This is something,
Huge business opportunities.
while the birthplace of automotive, you've seen now this kind of paradigm shift into education.
Yeah.
And now you're seeing economic development downtown, and now you're seeing it grow and grow and grow exponentially into Civic Park, into the north end of Flint. I think it's all Adrian Walker.
I can't take the credit for that, to be honest with you. To be honest, it's a collective approach,
It
right?
is.
And if you know anything about the people in this community, yes, we know they're resilient, but it's also a personal and an intentional approach that we take in terms of rebuilding the community. And as I've been saying earlier, again, it's bigger than one person doing this work.
So now you left Diplomat, but they're still your family.
Oh, yeah.
Phil's still your family.
Yeah.
And now you are Director of Government Affairs and
Yes.
Community Relations with the Chamber.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
tell us about that role.
Yes.
So people want to know
What
exactly
do you do?
What do you do?
Yeah, so I promise you, it's more than just being
Shaking
out
hands,
and about in the
kissing
community and
babies?
shaking
Sure.
hands and
Yeah,
kissing
yeah,
babies.
yeah.
So it's a two-pronged approach, right? So when
Right.
you think about the chamber, we have over 1,100 members that are from different sectors within business, but also the nonprofit community. From a government lens, my role is giving them a voice at the local level within, yes, city government, but again, we're the Flint and Genesee Chamber of Commerce.
Okay.
So within the county as well, at the state level. We do
wow.
a
Right.
lot
That's
of
incredible.
advocacy, but then also federally, right? So and it's just not me. We
Okay.
have a team of members from within our organization who come and help me on the government front of things. And so that kind of explains the government piece.
And that's so interesting because people don't understand that we are involved, that the chamber's involved in that aspect also.
At the federal
At the
level.
federal level.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
That's news to a lot of people. I'm
think
sure
so,
right
too.
now.
Yeah, and again, it's so funny when you think about. I opened it up talking about my experiences and now how things have come full circle, right?
Right.
So the chamber has really given me an opportunity to enhance my, I guess you can call it,
Love
expertise.
language?
Yeah, enhance my expertise, but
Right.
also be that voice for people at all three levels, because again, we're impacted by the laws and the policies that are created at all three levels of government.
And Lisa's very passionate about government and politics, and you teach me a lot. But what I think is so amazing with Adrienne in this role is you are an amazing brand ambassador for the city. So, like you said, you handle the local level, but then there's this regional and federal level. And to be able to speak the language that you do, which is your background and what you're passionate about, to represent the city is key and huge and what needs to be communicated. So the show is called Hope for Flint. And like we had said, I mean, we live here. We're from here. This is where we raise our kids. We've got to change this national perception of what's going on within the city. And how are you doing that?
In so many ways, right? Okay. So I'm currently a downtown resident, and for me it's interesting because locally we've been able to witness the change firsthand. Right. But then nationally, again, as you mentioned, there's those perceptions that exist.
It's going to take time.
However, when we're in community and when we talk to people, we know that a large battle that we face is just getting people here. If we can get people here and show them, and we see their reaction, they're like, "Wow, I didn't know Flint had all of this."
They
going
don't want to
on.
leave.
They don't.
They want to keep coming back.
And you look at, I mean, even with the art and the energy and the designers and the buildings now and the people, it's funny to me because even. You look at, it started in Flint, like we said, the birthplace of General Motors, and then the manufacturing, it moved more to the suburbs, right? Yeah. These families moved out.
Yeah.
And that's what we needed. We need these kind of suburbs to come in, and now they're coming downtown, and their jaw is dropping. It's going back to old school Flint. I remember my grandma, they would have to dress to the nines to even come downtown. The foot traffic, the electricity, you're seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, we really are, and it's so a part of the chamber. One of the other action groups that we have there is our Convention and Visitors Bureau, right? Mm-hmm. And they're tasked with tourism and bringing it in, but then also connecting people to the opportunities that we have within the area. We have a certified tourism ambassador program or CTA program, and I just became one. And these individuals are essentially, again, they're fighting that perception and helping to educate about what's going on here in Flint and Genesee County.
What I think is so exciting, though, when you talk to Adrienne Walker, your eyes light up. So you are able to tell this story and this narrative from your heart. It's your true intent. It's your truth. Yeah. And I think people can read that. And I think now you're starting to see with the hotels and the culinary schools. I mean, it's turning into a medical and education town, and it's starting to boom. How fun is this for you, Adrienne Walker? I mean, you've got to love it.
Yeah, so for me, it's mind-blowing, to see everything taking place. And it's, for me, it doesn't even feel like work, if I'm honest with you, right? Because it is personal, and it's something
we'll delete that out of the podcast. But
it's personal, but again, so people talk
it's
about
passion.
People talk about millennials all the time, right? And what attracts them to areas. One of my main selling points when I'm talking to friends or businesses or people who are thinking about relocating here is the opportunity to have impact, but then also shape the narrative about the future and what that looks like.
Absolutely.
And coming back to Flint, beyond just work, just being a citizen has offered that opportunity to give input in terms of what we would like to see. And now we're seeing a lot of that take place. Yes, downtown, but in other parts of the city as well.
You saying that, Adrienne, in speaking in terms of the enterprise that's available here, there's a lot of opportunity, and young people are taking advantage of that in the best way possible. They're taking advantage of this new narrative narrative, this new creative process. There are areas that haven't even been touched, because I like to talk, pre and post water crisis creativity.
Sure.
And there are opportunities for people to become new pioneers in areas that, yes, were happening maybe before, but now there is this absolute entire whole new opportunity for creativity and enterprise here, and so many young people. I mean, I cannot believe the number of young people that are taking advantage of that.
I say believe it, and it's so interesting that you bring up again the young people piece, because now that college is wrapping up, I'm thinking about the influx of interns that will either have returned back home for the summer or come here for an internship opportunity, and how, again, as we're talking about attracting talent to this area, how do we make sure that we educate them about what exists and the opportunities that are here as well,
and keep them? So that's what I think the chamber has done such a beautiful job. Prior, I would say maybe 5-10 years ago, we all operated in silos. We all operated mutually exclusive. What I think the Flint Genesee County Chamber has done is now aggregated. And now, not only, like you said, they're bringing in talent to the colleges surrounding. But guess what? They're staying and they're living here. And so we have great minds. We have strong support systems. And you're seeing these businesses come together and work together. It's insane.
It really is insane. And, working at the chamber is really interesting, right? Because people are familiar with chambers of commerce and they may be familiar with traditionally they do. We're a little bit also unique in terms of some of the spaces that we play in. And primarily I'm thinking about, as we're talking about the future of workforce development, what we're doing within our Youth Quest program, which is a K through 12 after school education program that we're doing. And how creative with some of the things that we're working on with the kids to enrich their daytime schooling with is just amazing. We just
and everyone can, any child can be involved in that. Any youth can be involved in that.
It's incredible. And how, what vision and foresight for the chamber to go into these schools, because you don't always see that. And then you kind of look at these perhaps chambers that have been grandfathered in. Like you said, I think it's an outlier chamber because now the progress within the city and the progress within the chamber and what you've done, I think Adrienne Walker is someone who can go and work with any of these businesses, and you have an amazing rapport with everyone. Someone in your position could struggle, I know that person, they're okay. I never hear that about Adrienne Walker. And I'm not just saying this. I don't just say it to say it. I think you have such a strong connection with almost every single business that you work in. And do you know how powerful that is to have that trust? And I think that is what has helped with the aggregation. And again, you've done a lot, and you have an amazing team. You have an amazing communications team. You have an amazing support team. It's not you by yourself.
No, and I'll be the first person to admit that.
That's exactly right. But I will tell you, in the years past to where we are now, I think that chamber is on fire.
I can attest to that. I know owning a business here in the community over a decade ago, and what was offered to us then, and I know what is available now at the chamber is night and day. And that was a very entrepreneurial endeavor. And I know that now there's so many more entrepreneurial endeavors and information and opportunity that the chamber offers.
And it probably wasn't for lack of effort, right? Sure. I mean, it just was maybe the way things were rolling out.
Things were very different 12, 13,
they were
14 years ago.
And now, like
the opportunity.
You said,
Adrienne, I wanted to you mentioned the youth program, the Youth Quest. There are so many summer opportunities in that program right now, and there's an opportunity for the youth to be involved in that. And I know that a lot of families, a lot of people are probably looking, how do they get involved in that, and what exactly is offered in that?
So specifically, we're in all the Flint schools, and we're in 2 schools in the Flint Township area. So in terms of after-school programming, if you visit our website, flintandgenesee.org, and go to the Youth Quest page, you can find information about summer opportunities within
Perfect.
different
Youth
camps.
Quest.
But
Okay.
it's even interesting beyond the Youth Quest piece when you start to talk about our Teen Quest, right? Which is, it takes place.
Oh, I have
And
goosebumps.
what, is that 13?
Teen Quest, yeah. So
They start at 13?
So
Oh,
no,
girl, we got Teen Quest,
Quest is
too.
it's 9th through 12th grade, so 14 through 18. And it's an employment that really works on the soft skills during the school year.
Okay.
And once you graduate from the program, you have an opportunity to go through our summer youth initiative program, which is actually job placement during the summer,
Wow.
right? For these high school students
Wow.
to give them that experience as they choose to maybe go off to college or maybe enter the workforce as soon as they
Wow.
wrap up with school. It's a
Wow.
really unique way for us to, again, play within that space at a young age.
Well, you have the relationships. Why wouldn't you help build the talent pool or connect the youth to these businesses?
Yeah.
That's
and
awesome.
and to piggyback off of what Lisa said, how can people get a hold of you or who the first point of contact is within the chamber? A, to become a member,
Yeah.
or B, to get the internships or, like you said, the youth and teen programs.
Yeah, so I mean, our information is listed on our website. Again, flintandgenesee.org. If you go there, there's a staff listing page. Again,
Okay.
Adrian Walker. If someone wants to reach out to me, I'll be more than happy to connect them with the right department within
Perfect.
our shop.
Perfect, because we have only just scratched the surface.
right.
The chamber's going to have a regular segment. We're going to highlight businesses, and because you also have a lot of networking events.
Oh,
You
yeah.
guys do
Yeah, I didn't
so.
even get a chance to touch on that.
Yeah, that's more shows. Adrian
Yeah.
Walker. We have to talk to his people. We've got to get him booked through 2020 because we know he's so busy.
ladies.
But
No.
honestly, it's truly an honor and privilege to have you on the show. You
meet you.
are incredible. Way to come back home. We talk to a lot of people that have left the city.
Sure.
And they come back home and they're difference makers and they're moving the needle. And again, they say, you know what? I do it because I do it for the love of my city.
And it's personal.
It's
It's
personal.
It
Yeah,
is.
It is really, really personal.
And when outsiders come in, it's
see
funny to us too. They're like, oh, this isn't what I thought it was. We're like,
Right.
exactly.
Yeah.
And so we are now using the Adrian Walkers of the world to help share that message with the world about how amazing this city is.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you
thank
for
you,
coming
ladies.
back.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
for
Thank
coming
both of
you.
for having me. Thanks for
Sharon.
having me.
Adrian Walker, again, Director of Government Affairs, Community Relations with Flint and Genesee Chamber of Commerce. Check them out online. Lisa Metropolis, as always, thank you.
Thank you. Great time.
I'm Kristen Wolosinovich. This has been Hope for Flint.